Here we go.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Sports Wrap. We're early December edition. Well, you said we're going to make a quick one here. We're going to try and make this quick.
We will.
So, where are we going to start? We got to start with football. Big college weekend. Let's start with college football.
It's a big college weekend. At 7 o'clock tonight, Army is playing Tulane, and UNLV is playing Boise State.
That's a pretty big night for you.
It is a pretty big night, considering that I'm wanted over in Canada between 7 and 9, so I'm going to have to record everything. It's going to be a late night.
It's going to be a late night for you.
It's going to be a late night for me.
So.
But the LV and the Boise State, I'm telling you, Boise State has a running back that's incredible. They got a really explosive football team, and they're a lot of fun to watch.
They should not be able to have blue turf.
Excuse me, I'm doing this.
Forget about the blue turf and Boise State.
Yeah, that's okay. Go tell them over there. So I think that there's a lot to watch there, and the Army Tulane game. This is Army's first year in the American Athletic Conference, and Tulane's been kind of ruling the roost there for a long time. They put the bite on Navy the other day, and I think that this is going to be a good indication. This is at Meachie Field at West Point, and so I think that it's going to be even out right now.
You don't think Tulane might want to be playing in that cold weather?
I don't know what Tulane wants to do, but I do know that they're about a 4-point favorite right now, and so, we'll see what Army can pull out, and every one of these teams that plays Army or Navy, for that matter, and they got to play this double wing like we were seeing the other day on old ancient football. They have a hard time with that because they don't see it all year long, and then all of a sudden there they are, and they have to deal with it. So we'll see what can happen, it's Bryson Daly is the quarterback of Army, Captain America they call him, and so we'll see if Captain America can pull this team around. This is going to, I think it's possible it's going to take something out of this Army team, because next week is the Army-Navy game, and for these guys, that's pretty much everything.
Okay, I was going to say, it's everything. Is it bigger than this championship game? Army-Navy's big. Doesn't matter.
No. If they
had to pick which one to win next week is the one.
It's up there with Harvard, Yale. It's up there with Ohio State, Michigan. It's up there with Minnesota, Wisconsin. I don't know.
Did you put the hex on Ohio State last week?
I did put the hex on. I just says that Michigan is coming in with nothing to lose, and that Ohio State hadn't beaten them in a while.
You would think that would give Ohio State all that much more to fight for, to work for, is Ryan Day going to lose his job because of this?
I think it's a possibility.
Yeah.
He's beat them 1 year in 5, and and of course, no championships, no championship games, and
not playing in the Big Ten championship.
The thing of it is that Ryan Day is one fine football coach. There's no two ways about it. But you have to, at that level, perform to perfection. And that's a tough thing to do when there's somebody down the street that just wants to kick the snot out of you, and everybody has Ohio State's target right now.
What about all the fights last week? All the planting of the flags on the opposing team's logo?
And it's amazingly enough, I think somebody tried to do it at the Auburn, Alabama, and so they...
Florida State, Michigan, Ohio State.
And so, it goes with the story that Woody Hayes had the boys get behind the bus because they ran out of gas, and they pushed the bus a quarter of a mile over the Ohio border so they could buy their gas in Ohio. I'm not sure that that's true, and it probably isn't. On the other hand, it's not an exaggeration. They really, in terms of two programs, are very competitive. And I know that Bo and Woody were sitting back watching that, and giving each other the evil eye the whole time. I watched it for years, and it's just like, you know, and I saw Woody Hayes several times at Memorial Stadium. I saw him there when he had Archie Griffith. So Archie played 2 years and twice there, and of course Woody was there all the time. And you got to talk about icon on top of icon.
Yeah,
You know, so
for sure.
and on the other hand, I enjoyed the game. It was a great football game, and Michigan deserved to win. Their defense came about, and it's
I thought the stat that was very interesting was the team that has rushed for the most yards the last 23 seasons has won the game. Wow.
Wow.
Think about that stat.
No.
Who's ever rushed for the most yards has won 23 straight.
and I've seen Michigan play 3 or 4 times this year, and this was by far their best game.
Yeah, I was shocked. I didn't get to really to watch it, but I was keeping an eye on it on my phone, the score, and I was shocked.
No, and I didn't send you any kind of sarcastic message, but I just thought, I says,
You didn't want to rub salt in the wound?
well, the thing of it is that when you make a prediction that Michigan could potentially beat Ohio State,
And I
at
chuckled
home,
at you.
You did, and then they go ahead and,
And
do
it
it.
did it, yeah. I don't know if I still believe it. Maybe it was all a farce and that everybody's lying to me.
No, we're talking about that game, and we had another football game just across the border over there,
Yeah, at where? What?
over in Madison. And you
Oh,
know,
that
at
little
Randall.
football game.
Yeah, that little football
Across the
game.
lake.
Yeah, and you want to know something? Minnesota dominated that game from top to bottom, and
I
then,
agree.
you know, and it's just like there were a couple of times that we talked about how Minnesota's going to lose it. We're so pessimistic, but I heard that there's a possibility they're going to go to that mayonnaise bowl. And if they win that, they throw a great big jug of mayonnaise over the winning coach. And I think that would pretty much do everything for old PJ if he could get a bucket of
But he
mayonnaise.
doesn't lose bowl games.
He never.
He doesn't lose bowl games.
No, he doesn't. And they're going to go.
Yeah, big win. Listened to part of it on the radio. Did not see a play of it. Mike Grimm drove me crazy, talking about everything else under the sun about how they were going to lose that game and all the other stuff. So, yeah, big win when you take down Wisconsin. Wisconsin is not as good as they have been in the past couple of years, but they don't remember that 20 years later when it's on the axe and says who won.
No, it does, not a bit. And there's a couple of other games on Saturday I want to bring up.
Yeah.
Iowa State and Arizona State. You know, Iowa State's had a kind of a multiple personality this year, but they're a pretty good football team.
Yeah,
they knocked off Iowa first off, and so they're in there and they're ready to beat up who's ever around Arizona State. I saw them play against Arizona the other day, and they're good football.
Iowa State, Arizona State is going to be a fun game. I think it's going to be very close.
I think it is
And Arizona State's got a 34-year-old head coach,
Yeah.
and he's arrogant enough to not know that he's not supposed to be. His team's not supposed to win these games. So
Yeah, and that's that.
he's very PJ Fleckish.
I guess it works. You know, I mean, I saw PJ at the end of that Wisconsin game. There was a man that was beyond ecstatic. And he's put in his time, and I know that there are times that he doesn't sleep so well at night. All in all, I think he's done pretty well with this football team.
Clay Parrish, all Big Ten. First team, all Big Ten.
And I'm not at all surprised at that either.
I was a little bit surprised.
I just didn't see a safety that played better than him, and he just come up with the big play. And Ursley was first team Big Ten as well. These guys are incredible football players.
Yeah, very, very surprising.
Yeah.
All right, tomorrow, Big Ten championship. You've got Oregon versus Penn State.
You know, it's I went to the game a few years ago. It's the nuance. You're at Indianapolis, and you have every possible luxury, including the game, that you can watch. And but like you say, Ohio State's not there, and Oregon's coming in, and right now Penn State's just a little bit down the road from Happy Valley. I think Oregon's going to have a tough go.
Could very well be the fact Penn State will have their crowd there. Not that Oregon doesn't travel,
No,
but Penn State is just down the road.
And I just want you to keep in mind, number 44, Tyler Warren,
Okay?
6'6", 259-pound tight end. He does everything. He runs ends arounds. He thinks he's a fullback sometimes. He thinks he's a halfback. They had one play where he was snapping center, and they had it between, and they made the shift in which made him the center eligible. He snapped the ball and went on, caught a touchdown, on a little flare pass. So, I mean, this guy is just huge. He is my idea of a football player. So Tyler Warren, number 44, he's a pretty good type. He's a totally equipped football player. Senior.
Well built.
He's really well built. Then let's see here. Now, also this weekend, well, I guess that's Monday. We'll get into that a little bit later, but that was a go for basketball. But there's going to be enough football, college football.
How about Georgia, Texas?
Well, Georgia, Texas is going to be 3 o'clock on Saturday, and this is huge. It's not only huge for Texas, it's huge, really huge for Georgia.
It's really huge for Georgia.
Yeah, and so they have to win this thing if they're going to be. Alabama, I see, snuck into the playoffs.
When Georgia played Georgia Tech, the announcer said that night, if Georgia won, they're in. They can't not make the playoffs because they're not going to penalize a team for losing in the conference championship game. And I'm like, well, what's the point of playing them?
Playing the conference championship.
They say Georgia's in. But it means whether you might get a bye or not, and getting a bye
and home field and all the rest
could be a big deal. So
it could be a big deal.
Yeah, Texas Georgia ought to be fun.
It will, and I will be watching that as well. My eyes will be pretty twisted up by the time this schedule gets through, and we haven't got to Sunday yet.
And we haven't got to Sunday yet.
Yeah.
Mankato plays Bemidji State tomorrow for the right to go to the Final Four in Division II.
Yes,
They have come through out of the 7 teams that were in their region. Those are the 2 teams that have come through.
You know, when you see all the kids from Minnesota that are playing a Division 1A or whatever it is football, it's amazing the talent that this small little state of 6 million people is producing, because they're all over the place. And a number of them that they recruited are going to come to the good old U of M for next year. And so there's some real good talent.
Because a couple 4-star players that quarterback out of California, the Gophers got, and the linebacker from, is it Robbinsdale Armstrong or Cooper? I can't remember which one.
Oh, it's Cooper. Yeah.
So we had that going on. Then in 1AA, North Dakota State, South Dakota State, and South Dakota all get playing this weekend. So if you get really bored and you get out onto those ESPN Plus range, there's plenty of playoff football to be watched. St. John's plays this weekend, so lots of playoff football.
Is this the state championship or semis for St. John's?
This will be the quarterfinals.
Okay.
This is the quarterfinals that they're in.
Okay.
So they play the next championship game will be like the 21st, 22nd, somewhere in there of December. It's a couple weeks away.
No, even that, the Division III teams are just blossoming with Minnesota kids. They're talented teams.
All right, do you want to talk about Sunday football?
We can talk about Sunday football. He's coming home.
Who's coming home?
He's coming home. Our friend Mr. Cousins is coming home.
Kirk Cousins? Is he going to be starting tomorrow?
Well, this I don't know.
Sunday, excuse me?
I mean, and it came up in the papers today. They were talking about, we got Cashman and we got Van Ginkel and we got all the rest of these young guys for a song compared to Aaron Rodgers and Kirk Cousins, which was very
True.
expensive.
It's very true.
You know, Aaron Rodgers cost the Jets a lot of money. It even cost them their quarterback, but hey, we're not going to complain about that. It worked out pretty well for us. So this was, as it turns out, a pretty good deal for the Vikings. Not so hot for the Jets. And it's,
I agree.
you know, and so they've got some issues here that they're going to have to deal with. And meanwhile, Andrew Van Ginkel just keeps on knocking them over. And
I was listening to the Vikings game on Sunday because Eli was playing a hockey game, and every time Van Ginkel left the field, Paul Allen had to say, Van Ginkel's not on the field. Like, he was so disappointed, and then, like, the guy deserves a break. PA, he gets to come off the field every once in a while. He gets to rest. So I thought it was a little.
Well, he goes incredibly hard, and I'm telling you, an offensive lineman, he's better be quick on his feet, or he's going to be on his heels. And these guys can come at you with that rush. That's exactly what happens. They get on their heels, and then the lineman is just like stuck in cement, and they're a blur going around you. I've seen this.
Never a doubt the Vikings were going to win on Sunday, right?
No, there was never a doubt. And then it's just like one of the things where, you know, I mean, the game never really got out of control, and I realize, and I'm starting to, in my mind, developing a book. No win is ugly, because they're like every good team find a way to win, and they can do it in several different ways.
You mean like the Detroit Lions last night?
Like the Detroit Lions last night. I watched this game this morning, and I thought, holy cow, the Pack, they really, really played well, and Detroit's lucky that they dodged that bullet, and they dodged a Packer bullet at home last night. And it's just, you know, and I mean, for the first time, I saw Frank Ragnow miss a block. The Packer defensive line was so incredibly quick, and they were coming ahead. I've been watching this man since he was a freshman at Arkansas. He doesn't miss blocks, ever. He missed a block, clearly. And it's just like, holy cow, Frank. You know, so
It happens to the best of them.
And then they have this left tackle, Skippy, and you know, and Dan Skippy, I think 6'9", 330 pounds. Now he's on a field with a lot of big people, and he stands out.
It's still big.
It's still out. But I think that offensive line is tired. I think that it can be exploited. If the Vikings defense is playing well and are healthy, they're going to give that team a good shot.
I like to hear it.
It's all on defense, isn't it?
A lot of it has to do with that.
A lot has to do with that.
So getting off the field and making get the offense back out there and put them back to work.
That's it.
What else from the NFL last week? Anything that sticks out in your head that I mean, besides the fact that the Jets lost again, and I mean the things that we kind of already.
No, not really. I mean, it's kind of like you know, you watch the great teams now. You know, I mean, San Francisco right now is not a factor, and they go from a top team, and they're out. They're no longer a factor, and they haven't been playing one. You know, and when Green Bay whooped them upside the head a week or so ago, that was either an inflection of how far the 49ers have dropped or how high the Packers have come up. Because 2 years ago, that wouldn't have happened. Maybe not even a year ago.
No, I don't think so.
And so, you know, you watch these teams, but I will say this about the old black and blue division. It's black and blue again. They have an 88% win record right now,
nice.
And it's just like 83%.
Okay.
But they're all winning their football game and beating on each other at the same time. But those are four good teams right now, and Chicago. They're probably not playing like champions, but they got talent.
They do have talent.
Yeah.
No doubt about that. Yeah, I'm going to go back. Philly is Philly's the team that is going to put the scare of death into Detroit. That's who's going to be in the NFC Championship game. Philly and Detroit. There's my prediction up front. It's going to come down to Kansas City and Buffalo in the AFC. Although the Baltimore fans may not like me saying that, but I think that's what we're going to see. That's what it's going to come down to.
Saquon Barkley, you watched him. I mean, when the Phillies got him from the Giants, the Giants handed them the trophy. And it's just like, and I think we're going to start seeing just a little bit more respect to running backs again because, well, they're at a premium, good running backs. And right now, after what I saw this guy do the last, all year long for that matter, I've not seen anybody ever do that.
Yeah, he could break the rushing record of Eric Dickerson that's been on the books since, what, 84, I believe?
They've been there
if I remember right. So it's 40 years since anybody's gone 2,100 yards. Obviously, Adrian Peterson got close here a couple of years ago, 2097 or whatever it was. So,
but he's still got several games to go here, and you know, and it's. But I've been watching the Baltimore Ravens. I think that they're a great football team, and I can't break away too much from Derrick Henry because if Barkley is a great running back, so is Derrick Henry, and they both have super quarterbacks because Lamar Jackson, he's
could be the third best team in the AFC.
Isn't that something? I know.
I mean, that's the scary part of it. And it's no disrespect to Baltimore.
No.
Kansas City and Buffalo just might be that good.
Well, that's right. And I mean, there was nothing like watching Buffalo take apart the Chiefs in the snow, and I just thought, oh, that's a factor.
So it'll be, like I said, big stretch coming down here. You got about 6 weeks left in the 5 weeks left in the NFL season. So
yeah, you can't really talk about the rest of those guys and not bring up Josh Allen though, because he's having an incredible year, and he's he's really doing the job, and he seems to be having fun, and the crowd loves him.
But he hasn't proven that he can win the big one. He's Kirk Cousins. Just saying, folks. What about anything else football-wise that we need to meander about?
I just know that it's creeping down to the end of the season. You know something? I really don't mind because I'm going to have time to do some other stuff. Because when football season's going on, a lot of stuff.
We still got a lot of college football. They don't get done till January 20th.
Oh, already 3 weeks?
No, January 20th.
Yes,
not December 20th.
No, but I found that if I record the games and then I zip through the commercials, the games go by a whole lot.
It goes a lot. You watch a whole lot more football that way?
Yeah, you can.
Wow.
Yeah,
I'm going to have to get your job.
Oh, yeah.
By the way, happy birthday to George before I forget, so I don't forget at the end on Monday.
Yeah, I turned the ripe old age of 76.
Congratulations, man.
That's 70. It was like 1776 and 1876 and 1976. I mean, it goes on in 76.
It goes on in 76.
Yeah,
there you
1876 is when Custer met his end. So I just thought of that.
Now, you talking volleyball next?
I had a reporter at the last volleyball match. And Minnesota played the Western Kentucky Hilltoppers in the opening rounds, and they played 3 sets. They won 3 sets to 1 in the first round. Play went back and forth in set 1 with the Gophers winning 25-22. Set 2 went again for the Gophers 25-20. The Hilltoppers came back to win set 3 19-25. At one point in set 4, the Gophers trade 14-19, but had an 11-4 run to take care of the set 25-23 and win the match. The Hilltoppers were plagued with 18 service errors during the match. 18 points. That's a lot of points.
That's a lot of service errors.
Anyway, the Gophers have had 4 players that were named to all Big Ten team. Julia Hansen and Lydia Grote and Milana Staffmaster they're all in the first team, and they have a libero. That's
crazy.
That's the one because they don't have enough shirts.
Yeah.
And so they put her in the other one. And this is the one with the off-the-color jerseys. This is sign up Hallie Bleak, and she's
She's crazy. She jumps up on everybody. She's going to hurt somebody.
She's from Istanbul, Turkey. She's only a sophomore, and as Sue says, she had 18 digs, including some amazing pancakes. And I says, pancakes? She don't do no I didn't know what a pancake was. See,
So she demonstrate for you? Did Sue get out and demonstrate for you?
Absolutely, she would have no more. She would have nothing more than that. But she did say Olivia Skidmore and Kaylee Cox for the Hilltoppers. Kaylee Cox, she's about 6'3" and she jumps like she's 6'8". She's just amazing. She's been hurt, but she came back. Now, tournament play continues today in Lexington at the Kentucky Memorial Coliseum for the Gophers to meet number 3 Kentucky, who have a strong home crowd. Go Gopher! That's on ESPN, and I think
ESPN Plus.
ESPN Plus, and I think it starts at 6 o'clock. I'm not.
I think it was 5:30. I thought I saw, but 6 o'clock could be right. Lots of stuff going on, right?
Lots of stuff going on.
So yeah, that's a biggie there for the Gophers. They did not play well yesterday.
Yeah.
Western Kentucky had won 24 straight matches, went 18-0 in the Conference USA. So it wasn't a gimme match yesterday.
Yeah.
I'm not saying Western Kentucky is bad, but when you're playing somebody from the Big Ten against Conference USA, there shouldn't be much of a contest, but it was.
That's when you have a professional reporter to do that. They write it out and they do all the rest of that thing. And they do that. The reporter's name is Miss Sue Frake.
There you go.
Very good at that.
God bless her.
God bless her.
So, yeah, lots of volleyball going on because there'll be 32 matches played today. They already started them at like noon to get 32 matches in because some second round matches, some first round matches. So if you're a volleyball freak, today's your day.
I want to take just a second and talk about Minnesota State girls basketball, and we have the top 25 ratings from the Star Tribune. We're going to start off with Hopkins. They are really good on defense, and they have a great balanced offense group, and they've been beating everybody up for so long they don't know another way. Providence Academy is number 2, and they are defending state champions. They're small, but we'll tough to beat. Maple Grove, hey, can you imagine that? That goes on. Wayzata, Eden Prairie, all letter winners return, head by South Dakota recruit Tori Schlegel from 20-win squad, and then it goes Minnetonka, Benilde St. Margaret, Crosby Ironton. Now Crosby Ironton has the Tori Orlean and Duluth Marshall transfer Reagan Juneman, not Johnson. Not Johnson.
Correct.
Gave Rangers a dynamic duo, and there's a reason I think that she transferred from Marshall because Marshall has they have a kid that's coming in from, I'm not quite sure, but she's Duluth Marshall freshman phenom Corey Johnson and 6'7" 8th grader Cabbagees Carissa Stamp Krasoskite. Pros problems. 6'7" 8th grader.
Yeah, they beat who last night? 110-32.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
And then we got like Hill Murray, Totino Grayson. They come up with Goodhue County, and this is a good Class A. But Goodhue, they've been real successful in their basketball.
They have been very successful. Yeah, the Duluth Marshall, Crosby Ironton being in the same section, playing to go to state. Juneman jumping ship. Yeah, it's got all kinds of movie-esque stuff on it.
And it's not the only one from the team that's jumped ship either. We'll get into that later. But we just want to talk about the number 1 players, and there's just a few. Madeline Greenway, she's 5'8" junior guard. That's her father. That's the football player, and she's averaging 34.3 points a game. And she's going to Kentucky.
She's off my list. I don't even want to talk about her. She's going to Kentucky.
Going to Kentucky.
Ick.
No,
sorry.
To Kentucky.
You know, I'm playing the Big Ten.
We have Kale Janke from St. Michael Albertville. She's a 6'2" junior guard, and she's good size. So she that stretch, hard to get that ball around those people like that. So I think
when you're 6'2" and you're a guard.
Yeah. Then Chloe Johnson's number 3 on this list. 6-foot freshman guard, one of the nation's hottest commodities in class of 2028. She averaged 27 points per game while shooting 49% from the floor, 42% from beyond the arc as an 8th grader. College is undecided, but you know she's a straight A.
Should still be undecided as a 9th grader.
It could, yeah, you should be. And then there's like Kendall McKee, a 5'10" senior guard. She's going to Creighton. There's Addie Mack from Minnehaha Academy, a 5'8" senior. She's going to Maryland.
At least she's staying in the Big Ten.
At least she stays in the Big Ten. Jordan Ode, 5'11" senior guard. She's going to Michigan State. And Tony Olin.
Tori from Crosby, aren't she? She's only a junior.
Yeah.
She's only got over 3,000 points already, so.
No, she's not bad, is she?
Yeah, she's got it going on.
She's got it going on. She committed. Oh, let me see.
Yeah,
she's going to the Gophers?
She's going to the Gophers. Yeah, she decided a couple weeks ago.
Well,
she's in our good graces.
We like her then.
We like her. Tori Orline, you're on our good list.
Misha Ramall. She's 5'11", sophomore forward. She's going there as well. She was 3rd-ranked player in the state, class of 2027. So there's some talent out there.
Lots of talent out there. Yeah, good to see. Good to see competitive basketball out there.
Well, let's talk about Big Ten basketball just for a second.
Just for a second.
Well, did Big Ten realities hit home the other night?
Oh, absolutely.
So this is the way it is in the real world?
This is the way it's going to be in the real world for the Gopher men. This is going to be the rest of the season, where 17-0 runs are commonplace. They can't shoot.
They can't shoot. I mean,
no wonder the other teams let these guys go. They can't shoot.
No,
they can't score.
And Michigan State was hitting them at 54%. They were drilling everything that was even their way, and they couldn't shoot. And as that very famous basketball wizard says, you have a lot better chance of winning in games if you hit your free throws. And they were bouncing off the rim. I think a couple of times they cracked the backboard. It was it wasn't good, but yet they still got pretty good play. They still got pretty good play from a couple of people, and Dawson played pretty well. I really like Parker Fox, and he comes out and he looks a little shabby once in a while, but then he does some good things. So it's
all I can say is I turned it on and the Gophers were ahead 14-12, and then the 17-0 run happened, and I turned it off. I'm like, I can't watch this anymore.
Well, so this is just next Monday. You can come home at 5:30 and you can catch them playing against Indiana. Well, you cringe at the thought.
Well, I'm not going to come home and watch it because I got to work at a basketball game. But I'll let you fill me in with the details next week. Yeah.
Anyway, I watched the game, and at the end of the time, I just thought, guys,
not pretty.
Not pretty. It's not pretty. Now, I got one other thing to bring up, and you'll be surprised at this. Northern Collegiate Hockey Conference.
NCHC.
I take a look at the leading thing now. Western Michigan's leading. They're 5-0. 5-0-1, I guess. They got 15 points. Number 2, Colorado College. Okay, they're 3-2 with 10 points. Arizona State's number 3. And I go down the list. Number 7 is this team over by Grand Forks called North Dakota. And they're number 7. And number 8's UMD. They only have 9 teams, and the 9th one's Miami of Ohio. Now, have they shaken up the bottle, and this is how it pours, or what?
Well, I'll say this: it's early.
It's early.
I believe that UMD's played 4 league? No, they played 6 league games, so they've got the same as everybody else.
They're gonna go over for 2 this weekend, right over in Arizona.
Yeah. UMD is not what they've obviously been in the past. There's no doubt about that. The surprise one, I think, is North Dakota and what's going on there, and the fact that Bemidji State, I believe, if I remember right, went into Ralph last weekend and took a win and a tie.
Win and a tie, yeah.
Bemidji State.
And they did the same thing to the Gophers the week before, you know. And
No, I'm a little perplexed, but the season is early, and we'll see where things pan out. But I think we need to get used to the fact that the Bulldogs are going to be towards the bottom half or in the bottom half. They won't drop below Miami of Ohio because Miami of Ohio, I mean, they spanked Miami twice a couple weeks ago. So only 8 of the 9 teams make the playoffs this year. So they'll have their chance. But no, Colorado College has been building. Western Michigan has always been a tough out.
they've always been tough.
Denver is the defending national champion, so let's not forget about them.
No, and they're down. They're like 5th in this list. So.
And that's, like I said, that's why I say the bottle's been shaken. I don't think that's how it's going to settle out at the end of the year, but I could be wrong.
Well, it caught my eye, that's for sure.
There you go.
Yeah.
How about your Minnesota Wild?
You know, Kaprizov has 38 points. Baldy has number 2 in team scoring with 24 points. Kaprizov is, without a doubt, I don't know, one of the finest automatic scorers I've ever watched in that Wild team. But he is just really hot as hot can be. And
He's playing at a different level.
He's playing at a completely different level, and
The passing is magical, for lack of a better term.
It's gone before he even knows he does it. It's just totally reactionary. But he's just,
And the best part about his reactions is his teammates know that it's coming.
Yeah.
Where I think a couple years ago, I don't think he'd have pulled the trigger on some of those passes because they weren't ready for it.
So at this time of the season, would you think that they'd be leading the conference?
Not even a chance.
Not even a chance.
I mean, I was talking that they might not make the playoffs. Right now, they are the number 1 team in the entire NHL, not just in the conference, in the NHL.
Well, somebody threw a bucket of cold water on that Jets team, and that.
Yeah, I mean and that's going to happen. I mean, there's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
But right now the Wild go out and play Anaheim, a West Coast swing here. They got Anaheim tonight. That should be an automatic win. The big concern is Joel Eriksson Ek is week to week, not day to day, week to week. Number 14 is a big part of that club.
Oh, he really is. And
he goes into the dirty areas. He does a lot of face-offs, those kinds of things. This is a big loss. I'm not concerned about necessarily tonight and losing at Anaheim, but I'm concerned the week by week business with him not being there. He plays a big part.
Well, in fact, when he came back after an early injury, he came back, sparked the whole deal. And so, but to get an opportunity, watch them. They are fun to watch these days. They really are.
How about your Timberwolves?
Well, they're not as much fun, but
Hold on, wait a minute. I turned the TV on the other night, and they were ahead by like 39 points in the third quarter against the Clips.
Yeah, that's kind of the bipolar situation.
It is the bipolar. That's a good way of putting it.
And it's just like, and when they start hitting and everybody's getting a piece of the action, they play pretty well.
I have a feeling, and I might be wrong on this, but I have a feeling that Ant coming out and saying everything that's going wrong finally made maybe everybody accountable for what the heck is going on.
Yeah,
ever since that came out, they've won some games. They seem to be doing things together, and I think maybe it took him to say, "Look, boys, I notice it, and I'm going to tell everybody in the world that wants to know that we're screwing this up. It's not Chris Finch. It's not the front office. It's not the fans. It's us. Who are screwing it up. And we better get it figured out here pretty soon because they're going to do something."
But it's been up to him to become the leader of this team for a while. And it was difficult to do because there were a number of leaders on the team, including Mr. Conley last year. And it's just like you have all that. But he's now a full-grown man. And he has been everywhere and done everything, and this is his team.
And the other night he didn't score 20 points for the first time, I think, all season, they said, and they won.
And they won.
I'm not saying, but I'm saying.
What are you saying? They're dishing it off and getting everybody involved to help your offense?
I think that it's got to be less me and more, less I and Anyway.
No, you're absolutely true. That's right on the money.
We'll see. Did you see that your good friend Lindsay Whalen's back in the fold?
Lindsay Whalen's back with the Lynx, and I mean, hey, some people were born to do that, and I'm not so sure.
It's a good place for it.
It is a good place for it. And she knows all it takes to win. I think that they were asking. When she was at the Gophers, I think a certain segment of you, when you're coaching at the collegiate level, has to be a teacher. And I'm not sure that she was able to get that across. She's not a trained teacher. Most coaches are. Most football coaches are. And it's just and she had a hard time with that part, and she just wanted to take care of the basketball. College, boy, you got to take care of a lot more than that. I think that's why football staffs have 25, 26 people. Keep track of their people, and it's
lots to keep track of.
Lots to keep track of.
How about the Gophers taking down South Dakota State 30-3 in wrestling last weekend?
Yeah, they haven't lost a lot of games. A lot of wrestling matches, and they're going to get better right now. They're ranked 7th in the nation. I haven't got their schedule from ESPN, but I think they're going to be on sometime this week. They're down on a tournament on Saturday, so we'll see what happens. But they're hard to find. But what a closer! I'm telling you, when you got Gable closing for you, you got a dandy.
You got a dandy.
Yeah, I tell you right now, the sports at the University of Minnesota is doing very well. The hockey team got 2 games with Michigan this week.
They're really touting that series, number 4 versus number 6, and it could be some great hockey.
Yeah.
Michigan State's number 1 in the nation.
Number 1 in the nation.
What? Who?
Well,
Come on. That means 3 of the Big Ten teams are in the top 6. Yee! Wow.
What can you say?
I'm a little surprised.
But I mean, it was like a few years ago when we took a look at all the people that went into the Frozen Four. They were all from Minnesota, and so it can happen.
It can happen.
It can happen.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What else you got? What else you got written down?
That might be. I think that's probably it for my length.
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's all kinds of other stuff going on. Like I said, with the volleyball, the UMD men's and women's basketball teams have been playing pretty well lately. I got to get down and watch them. I got to get that fit into my schedule somehow, some way. But there's lots of sports going right on here in International Falls.
Bronco girls had their heart broke last night.
Bronco girls basketball team, tough one last night. I think going in the pundits would have said that the Broncos were going to have a tough time staying close to Ely. They were ahead late. Ely tied it, went to overtime, lost in overtime. The team's growing. The boys are coaching them up. I love what I'm seeing. The Bronco boys hockey team scored 6 seconds into the season this afternoon. Last I had looked, they were up 4-0 against Canora's Beaver Bray. So that was an hour and a half ago last time I looked.
I bet you bet you a lot of Bronco fans up in Kenora then tonight.
And of course, the Bronco girls hockey team got a tie and a win.
A tie and a win
last weekend against Morris Benson. And so it was a 0-0 tie. We talked about that last Saturday morning, and then they won 2-1 in overtime. So they are out in Detroit Lakes and Crookston. They'll have their hands full with those Section 8 teams out there this weekend. Boys basketball teams in Ely tonight. Never an easy place to play in Ely, as you well know. Tom McDonald always has his boys pointed in the right direction. Boys lost to Chisholm in their season opener. And so there's your quick Bronco sports update. Swimming gets started in a couple of weeks. So they got pushed back because of the Thanksgiving holiday. They got started a little bit later. But exciting times. It was great to see the girls win in overtime last Saturday. As we know, wins have been at a premium for those girls. And to get a tie and a win early in the season is only going to help the momentum for this team to keep working.
To the girls and the coaching staff, congratulations. And we know, I mean, we lived through that for a number of years with a football team, and now we see a football team that's not only successful this year, but it's going to be marvelously successful next year. It does not go away. You got to keep on hammering them.
Got to keep working at it.
Got to keep working at it.
All right, we're going down to watch Eli play hockey for 4 games this weekend, so that's why we got to get this thing cut short, because I got to get on the road.
He's got to get on the road.
Thanks, everybody. We'll talk to you next week before Army Navy.
Yes.
Next Saturday, the 14th. Oh my gosh. Big stuff. We'll talk to you then.